Welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of the Litecast, episode 3 on the CF After Dark Network. And I got to say, Matt, we're looking a lot more professional this week. I love it. So let's start here. I'm Austin Keeney. I got Matt Nelson with me as always. How we doing? We got a big week ahead of us.
We got a big week ahead of us, and how about this, Keeney? The professional looking equipment we've got going on here, incredible.
Yeah, you were telling me that your kids did something to your microphone, though, so we got to kind of patch it together, MacGyver style.
Yeah, my mic stand is kind of being held together with aftermarket parts. Let's put it that way. We will get it fixed. We will overcome.
We got to keep some of that, just patching it together.
I think so, right? A little
old school
modicum
wide right style stuff.
we duct tape and baling wire around here. It's gotten too fancy.
But no, man, it's good to talk to you. This is, I mean, it's going to be a fun week in athletics. I can feel it, especially with Kansas tomorrow night. We'll definitely need to get into that. But the place that I want to start this episode is with a 6-pack, where we hand out our 6 beers. Or this week it is black cherry sparkling water. Hand out 6 of those to whatever stood out to us last week. And Matt, I will give you the floor if you want to go ahead and go first.
Yeah, the 6-pack. Looking for a sponsor, potentially, allegedly, supposedly. So that's exciting. Have maybe some feelers out there. Killian Torre gets the coldest one, the first one out the pack. Keen Dog. We had talked about, should we be concerned with, I don't know, some I don't want to say poorer performances, Keeney. Offensive struggles. How's that? Over the last couple games, still good at defense, right? Still good rebounding, still hustling, all those things that we've come to like and appreciate about his game. And we got offense from him on Saturday. It seems to me like teams have maybe tried to take away his easy drives to the hoop, have forced him to shoot it a little bit more. And it was nice to see him not just out in transition, but he had a few really nice plays getting to the rim in the half court on Saturday that I was really encouraged to see. So, Tori, I don't think you're old enough to enjoy this beer, but we'll give it to you anyway.
He gets the sparkling water.
He gets a black cherry Kirkland sparkling water. That's right.
That's right. How much of that would you chalk up to just like it's halfway through the season and just some freshman growing pains kind of hitting that wall a little bit that we see happen with freshmen all the time?
I mean, I think that's a big part of it. And Keeney, it's far enough in the season now. I would wager that teams probably have some good tape on us, right? And they clearly see that that's what he wants to do is get to the rim. And it was something that they tried to take away. I know they forced 15 turnovers in that game. And I think he's a huge beneficiary of that, Keeney, getting out in transition. That's where a lot of his like easy buckets come from. And it was nice to see him get back out there. They had forced 14 against Baylor as well. So, and I want to say he had, he finished with 12 points against Baylor. So it's really been a couple back-to-back games now where we've seen, a really good performance out of him. And I think we can get into it later, but that just kind of gives you some buffer. If Momcilovic or Jefferson maybe don't have elite nights, you've got someone like him who can give you 12. So that's a long story to give him one beer.
The outside shot is the only thing missing with him. And again, it's kind of to be expected as a freshman. We didn't expect him to come in and be a great shooter, but I'm trying to decide if I want to put a theme to all of mine. I think I got to start here. Ben Johnson.
No, I knew it was coming.
Matt. Let me ask you this.
No.
What you're a Vikings fan, so
correct.
I need the potential hater angle, but also you weren't involved in the game itself.
I was not. I was actually very impartial. I did not know what to do.
I think Ben Johnson's a real deal. I think he deserves a beer. I'll go ahead and not do all Bears stuff though. And I got to ask you what you thought about Caleb Williams as kind of the unbiased observer.
I mean, I don't know what to think of him, man. Between the painted nails and the earrings. And then Keeney, he's like 50% accurate all game long. And then somehow he 50% accurates them to a fourth quarter comeback. Like, he makes these great throws, but all game you're watching him just miss consistently. And then he pulls it out of nowhere in the fourth quarter, right? Like, it's incredible. I love his poise. I love that he's not afraid to make some of those big throws. I can't decide, Keeney, if this is when he finally can complete 50% of his passes, the league better be on notice, or if this is just Caleb Williams and he's only ever going to complete 55% of his passes.
I think,
but I'm not.
I think
I'm not trying to bring you. I'm not trying to.
Him than 55.
I'm not trying to bring you down. I'm not trying to bring you down, Bears fan, as someone who has JJ McCarthy, who has struggled horribly. Like, I love it. I've got Packers fans in my family. I know how mad they were. I have not listened to any Packer like vet line clips. I'm sure you've maybe indulged in those a little bit. I'm sure they're very sweet. I was just a fun game to watch.
Mainlined that content.
I figured you probably did.
When your team wins a big game, it's almost more fun, like, against a rival, especially. It's almost more fun to listen to.
Yes,
the rivals, meltdown about it. It's why Instant Iowa goes crazy whenever Iowa loses a football game. It's because Iowa State fans are tuning in to listen to what Chris Hassel and Andrew Downs have to say.
Right. Well, and I had to remind myself, right? You beat the Packers. You beat the hated Packers in the playoffs. Minnesota, when we made it, we've played Dallas, we've played the Saints, we've played the Eagles, we've played the Niners. We have not played a division team in quite some time. So I can imagine how sweet that felt. That was, I know a lot of Bears fans. I'm happy for them. As a Vikings fan, I'm sad.
You've gotten good quarterback play before. Like, I've never had good quarterback play paired up with a good coach. And it's just a foreign concept to me. Like, it's like the first person to discover like oil in the ground,
the moon.
It's awesome, man. All right. This isn't a Bears show though. So I'll turn it back.
You go ahead. You got to open another one up. Okay.
Well, no, I'll go again.
Okay,
Eddie Brown.
We'll do snake style.
Yeah. Eddie Brown. Feel better soon, please. Apparently, she is the key that just holds the whole thing together for the women's basketball team.
Yep.
So 3 straight losses. You're not feeling well, Addie. I hope this helps pick you up a little bit and gets you on the court sooner. Who knows?
She is the straw that stirs the drink, the beer in this case, Keeney, as we do a 6-pack. One of those you don't realize how much she impacts the game until she is not in the game. And I really hope it's not a long absence, because that is going to hurt this team, which is already on a 3-game skid.
Not just that we lost 3 games too; it's that we lost to Cincinnati, who's probably the worst team in the conference.
Yeah, they're not good.
2 home games, like not good at all.
West Virginia and Baylor are good teams, but it does hurt to lose those at home. That hurts your resume.
If you have any
more than
plans
anything
on winning the Big 12, you need to protect your home court, and we did.
Or being a top 4 seed, that they're going to have to make some hay, Keeney, in the latter part of the schedule. Hopefully, when they're all healthy. I mean, they need AJ and Addie Brown, certainly. So, yeah, that's a different angle to take on that one.
All right, snake it. You got 2.
Yeah, we're gonna give one to Jimmy Rogers.
He's on my list too,
and his staff.
Yeah.
We'll get into this, right? But the onslaught of portal additions continues, kind of shifting away a little bit from defense to offense. And there's some players that I've really liked that they've picked up just here in the last 48 hours. And I think it's easy to see a vision and a plan for what they are building. And I give him credit. I know that wasn't probably easy to do, given the way that everything is turned over, how crazy the cycle is. And if you're a Cyclone fan, Keeney, I don't know how you can be anything but impressed. And that's not just us shilling for Jimmy out here. I'm truly, really impressed with what they've done.
Well, Matt, you had a great post about it. So as we talk about like offensive pieces that are coming together, I think this staff has a thing, and it's a thing for offensive linemen. I think we're trying to build the whole team out of offensive linemen. So
it's the Wumbo package, as I put on Twitter. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Former wide right conspirator Ben Swanson gets credit for that one. BJ Swanee made that meme 2 years ago when we were just, trying to cram 8 tight ends onto the field at once, it seemed like. Last one. This is going to be a shout out to wide right intern and now Cycle Fanatic manager, Jake Brend, who is in charge of all of us. He is our boss. Heck, he might be Chris's boss for all we know, Keeney. For the nickname Big Schnitzel. Don Plate has been great. He had that bum ankle earlier in the year. I believe he did not play against Iowa. And since then, he's given them really valuable minutes. And he's not playing 20 minutes a game, Keeney. He's averaging 7 to 10, right? 11, 12 minutes a game maximum. And not only is he eating fouls, but when he gets in, he plays pretty good positional defense. He's a pretty good rebounder. He's obviously very tall, but I don't think we knew what his physicality would look like. Did he want to rebound the way that, Buchanan wants to, or what we've seen from Jefferson? On top of it, knock on wood, doesn't mean knocking if you couldn't hear, he's been making some free throws and giving you some offense. He had a play on Saturday, Keeney, where he caught it kind of midway up the paint. I think he looked off a defender like with a head fake and took one dribble and laid it in. It was a really good move. And he's been a pretty reliable finisher when he gets fed the ball around the hoop. I think he had a couple of putbacks off the backboard on Saturday. He actually gave them great minutes. And I feel like I don't have expectations for him. So I've been thrilled with what they've been getting. And I'm sure the coaching staff has to be. I don't know if TJ talked about it post game. I don't know how you could be anything but thrilled with what they've gotten from him.
Yeah, he's like the perfect 8th guy off the bench right now, where we saw it against Baylor. I know this is about Jake, and I'll bring it back to Jake, but like Don Plata had the perfect stat line against Baylor. He played like 8 minutes and he had 4 fouls, and I think he had like 2 points. Like he's just out there to eat fouls and basically exist, and
not 9
don't
minutes
screw anything up really. But
9 minutes against Oklahoma State. Yeah, 9 minutes against Okie State on Saturday. Keeney 3 for 3, 6 points, 4 boards. Perfect.
Yeah, he's earning his minutes. That's unexpected production. Let's bring it back to Jake Brend though. So wasn't sure if I was going to have a place to fit this in, and I got to tell you, the Brend brand is strong. Yesterday at church, I had a high school kid come up to me and ask, he was watching the After Dark show and he saw me on it. I was like, I didn't know you were part of Cyclone Fanatic. Do you know Jake Brend? I love Jake Brend. Like, yes, I do. I know Jake. So the Brend brand is strong.
We love Jake. He's a great boss.
Yeah. Boss/intern. All right. My last one is the Wisconsin men's basketball team. Knocked off Michigan. Big help for us. Got us up in the polls, up to second now. Somebody could go ahead and take out Arizona for us before we have to play them. That'd be awesome. I'd love for this team to be ranked number 1 in the country. I'd also love for this team to beat Kansas tomorrow night. Or tonight when you listen to this. But anyway, shout out Wisconsin. That was a great win on Saturday. Great college basketball game. Took out a Michigan team that looked pretty much invincible up to that point.
Litecast trivia. What is John Rothstein's nickname saying for Greg Gard?
Does he have one? I feel like we need the comment section to weigh in there.
He does have one. He calls him the silent assassin.
Sure. I unfollowed Rothstein a long time ago. Like, I don't get anything from him. So
trivia is he a robot?
Yeah, I think he was AI before AI, to be honest.
You know what's weird is like he covers basketball, and I follow him, right? He tweets the same 2-3 canned phrases every morning, which is the dog barks, but the caravan marches on. And I think stay hungry, stay humble every day. It's like, I don't know. He must use some program to schedule those tweets. But Kenny, all of his tweets have like no substance. Like he'll tweet Northwestern versus Michigan standalone game. It's like, what does that mean? Or a team will win and he'll tweet Chris Jans tougher than a weekend at your in-laws. It's like, so I see you tweet Chris Jans. I'm assuming that means his team won, but he doesn't give you any commentary. It's just like he spouts off random phrases and somehow has built this huge following. I think I follow him just almost more out of spite.
No, anyway, I would encourage you to give it up. You're not getting anything from it. It's like Chris Jans. Okay, I guess Mississippi State won. Who did Mississippi State play? Oh, they played like
no idea.
Louisiana Lafayette. Okay. Is that supposed to mean anything to me? Was it a big win? Nothing. You don't get anything from it. All right. Matt, let's talk transfer portal. I feel like it's just kind of the topic right now in Iowa State. world, obviously we got basketball, but we're still putting together a football team, and there's been more movement in the last week. We alluded to it a little bit, getting offensive pieces now. The day that we record this, we got the transfer from Petaway, who was the MAC freshman of the year at Bowling Green. Who is he going to be, like a running back, a wide receiver, just a kick returner? What do you know about this guy?
About the crazy fast, super athletic next running back star, Keeney? That guy?
He's going to be a running back, you think?
Wait,
I'm going to do the thing that I'm going to do some great podcasting here, and I'm going to go ahead and Google stuff. Okay, yeah, he's listed as a running back.
Yeah, he's a running back. Running back returner.
I saw like kick return highlights. I didn't know, and that he plays the MAC freshman of the year.
Well, he plays a lot in the slot, and is used in the passing game a lot. So I kind of reminds me of how we would have used like Jalen Noel. So I think running back, but you're right. Most of his yards were not. I think he had more all-purpose yards than he did running yards. Like almost 1,000 yards, but only 365 rushing. So that's a fair question. I guess maybe they will line him up at wide receiver. He's fast, and Bowling Green.
We like that.
There's got to be a staff connection. I think there is, because on the defensive side, because this is like the 5th transfer they've brought from Bowling Green, and he's got 3 years to play. I watched his tape, man. He is quick, smaller back, but really, really like his game. Great receiver, makes good cuts. I think they finally picked up kind of like an all-purpose type running back that they'll clearly use in the passing game, out of the backfield. Keeney, you're right. I'm guessing based on his tape, he played in the slot quite a bit, almost as more like a true wide receiver type player. So I love that he's the MAC freshman of the year. I mean, he was basically 1,000-yard all-purpose player as a freshman. So I would say probably the most significant offensive player they've brought in terms of, impact and production. They brought in a receiver from Michigan State, but I think he's probably he has the most substance and tape behind him that shows just how versatile he is. And I think it's probably the running back people were waiting for. There is one more really big name that has visited but has not committed. So I'm guessing they will still take one more running back. But I feel like
the Michigan guy or the Monmouth
correct.
guy?
Yeah, the Michigan guy. We also have another running back from Oregon State, Salahuddin Allah, which I think is an incredible name.
Good job on that one. Good job on the pronunciation.
I've seen enough medieval movies and things about the Crusades, I guess, that I know how to pronounce Salahuddin. What is the movie? The Kingdom? I forget what the name is. Liam Neeson's in it. Anyway, it's going to come to me. That's not the name of it. Kingdom of Heaven. That's the movie. Very fast also. Was a backup, but got some run against some pretty good teams last year. Oregon State played 7 or 8 P5 schools. So to me, this looks more like a depth play. He is a little bit bigger and can probably take a few more carries. He kind of reminds me of Abu Sama, I guess, would be kind of the comp. I know he was just on this last roster. So I think they've filled out depth, but I'm guessing they would still maybe look for a starter. I think either of those two we just mentioned could start, but
we're missing that one guy who was productive at another school last year, basically. Otherwise, it's Petaway and it's Aiden Flora and like guys that have potential, but we don't have that one guy that has proven it yet. It's not that that's a bad thing. It's just you would hope that you have basically a blank slate that you could find somebody that had racked up some yards somewhere.
And I do think, Keeney, one thing I want to call out too is go ahead. You were going to talk about the Oregon State guy.
I was just going to say, probably a depth piece for the running back room. We should look up his stats though, because Jimmy Rogers did see him twice last year. Like
would have played against him.
Played twice.
And he was there for 2 years. He's got 3 years remaining. So would have built up a good amount of familiarity with him. Chris Williams called this out, and I do want to shout it out because you're starting to see it play out right now, Keeney, with what's going on across the landscape. I would say the very best, highest sought after players are just now starting to commit, right? You saw Sam Levitt is supposedly going to LSU. You saw DJ Lagway commit over the weekend. There's been a bunch of movement of guys to Ohio State. Dylan Raiola just committed to Nebraska. Have fun, or to Oregon. Sorry, from Nebraska. Have fun with that, Oregon. So, Keeney, I think it's very likely that there are bigger names at, I would say for sure, wide receiver and tight end that have not joined this team yet. I'm not saying that there's a starter coming in from, take your pick, right? Any SEC school or something of that ilk. But this is kind of how this works. A lot of the more expensive guys, the depth guys, and also ones with a staff connection, those were going to come first. Like that running back that visited from Michigan, I believe had other visits lined up. I want to say Rutgers was one. I forget what the other school was. There will be more and more prospects on campus here this week. I am guessing that they're not committed yet because of the money they command, the amount of schools that they've decided to visit. So I give them kudos for wrapping up a bunch of the roster prior, but I'm guessing there are a few bigger names that they're still waiting on.
We basically have an offensive and defensive line 2 deep or 3 deep at this point, which is pretty nice. We should probably call out Terrell, who was Washington State's leading sack guy last year on the defensive line. He committed.
Oh, huge get.
That's a big get, yeah.
The Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, if that means anything when you're choosing from 2 schools. He was. I'm not exaggerating that. Not necessarily fierce competition for that one.
But like he had 7 sacks last year, I think.
7.5.
Did Iowa State have 7 sacks as a team last year? It felt like after the Iowa game, we just never got to the quarterback.
We took a tight end from Hampton today. The same program that we do not mention on this podcast.
It's like a jump scare for older fans.
I know someone just drove off the road listening to this, screaming, "No, he missed the layup. He blew the game. He was paid." I'm
wondering what the plan is for this kid who went to Oklahoma State last year, the tight end, and was like a top 15 tight end in his class.
Yeah, Jordan Viborni.
Yeah, like how do you even identify this as a guy that we want? And is like, what's the plan? Is this guy, or is this just a guy who had pedigree and is ready to play now?
He had a crazy offer list out of high school. I saw somebody on X do a little journalism and went in and found his offer list. It was pretty extensive. There were some very big programs in on it. The word on the street is that he came with Zane Flores, which we probably should mention. Zane Flores was, how do I call him? Backup at Oklahoma State. He did start 6 or 7 games this past year. Oklahoma State was a mess, right? In terms of quarterback, nobody knew who was playing. It's been that way in Stillwater for 3 seasons now. So Flores was around for a few years, has started a number of games. I don't think you're bringing him in to be the starter. In fact, I know you're not. You probably but want Jalen Raynor to win that. To me, that is if you have an injury to Raynor, or if Moberly's not ready to step up and take that job. I think you could do a heck of a lot worse with a backup than a guy who started 6 Big 12 games in Zane Flores. And I'm guessing
Zane
that's
Flores
maybe the connection.
He did play against Iowa State. He was 19-30, 166 yards and a pick. Like, he didn't play well, but I mean, look at that Oklahoma State team. What was he working with at that point? That's a skeleton crew of a football team that was just waiting for the season to be over. But yeah, he's started Big 12 games. This is probably your QB3. Raynor and Moberly are probably going to have the first shot at getting snaps, and then Flores will also be in the quarterback room.
He started 8 games, threw for 1,500 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's got 3 years left, right? So you're bringing in a good depth guy that has Big 12 experience to be your backup. I think you can do a lot worse than that. As odds are, they may need to play 2 quarterbacks next year, right? You just don't know with injury, anything like that. So I think it's smart to bring him in. Anybody else you want to hit on this list? We've jokingly signed a gazillion offensive linemen, but they've also done the same with defensive linemen. I would say Max Balloon and Bobby Terrell, you probably got the 2 best D linemen from Washington State, guys that you really, really wanted. They got a commitment from a transfer from Iowa Western, one that was really highly sought after. Which I think it was Blake Hawkins, which I think speaks really well. And a number of those defensive linemen that they bring in from Wazoo are bringing, multiple years of experience. So Any thoughts on the defense overall? I think the defense is by far the most promising, especially with David Coffey announcing that he's staying. You probably picked up a starting corner there. You had pieces already at linebacker and defensive line. You maybe had 5 or 6 starters that had decided to stay at Iowa State that you could probably pull from that group. And then you've replaced it with, well, while I get your thoughts, I got to do a quick count here on Washington State commits because I think the number's pretty high.
Yeah. Oh, there's a point last week where I gave up trying to keep up with it because there was like 8 of them that happened in like a 90-minute span while I was at work. And I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna have to keep up with this later.
13 on the defense.
Yep.
1 on offense and a punter. So 15 total.
Is the punter? So that's the one from Van Meter, right? That grew up an Iowa State fan, but somehow ended up at Wazoo.
Crazy connection. Yes. The heater from Van Meter. But he's a punter.
We need one.
I really like what they've done with, like, Keeney, they got a cornerback transfer from Montana State who had
I think that was another guy that was pretty sought after. Like I know Penn State was at least kicking the tires on him, and I think there were other power conference programs that wanted him. Played
sparingly, but like is super highly talented and regarded. That receiver from Michigan State, Evan Boyd, played at all 12 games. Only had 3 catches on the season, but he's 6'3", 208. He's got 2 years left. And you got him in Jonathan Smith's program for a couple of years. He's played Big Ten competition. Like I know there's no big numbers to jump off the page there, but you're taking a guy that's clearly top 3 league talented and has size and hoping you can coach him up. Like that is such a great swing to make on a guy with that size coming from a Big Ten program. So and above all, with a lot of these guys, they have multiple years to play, which I think is also really important. You can build the team right away this year, but it also leaves you something for next year. So
that's the thing is you want to be able to sustain something here and not just build the 1 year, try and do the flash in the pan thing. And a lot of these guys, have multiple years of eligibility. We basically took all of Wazoo's recruiting class, which look, I'm not even going to pretend that I follow high school recruiting at this point, but a lot of guys that were 3 stars and a lot of guys that in theory should, a year in the program be able to play at some point. Like it's a lot. It's really hard to keep up with, but it's nice to have what feels like close to a full roster at this point, or like, we could put a 2 deep together. I think we've signed close to 40 kids in the portal at this point. So we have a football team. It's kind of the thing that we knew all along was going to happen. It felt really bad seeing everybody leave. And I hope that we all heeded the advice of like, all right, well, just wait. January 2nd, you're going to start seeing people actually commit to Iowa State, and we're going to build a football team again.
And they could be sneaky, right? Like, I think at this point, what I'm probably the most nervous about, Keeney, is offensive production at wide receiver. I feel all right with where they're at with running back. We like Aiden Flora. The previous staff loved River Peppers, who just announced that he's staying. Tore his Achilles in the first play. And you've gotten now 2 transfers that you feel like you really like and are maybe hunting a 5th starter. But if not, I think you've got enough bodies there. It's wide receiver I'm still nervous about. The Tarleton State kid is very highly well thought of, as is the one from Tulane. But you just don't have a headliner or like, Xavier Hutchinson, Jaden Higgins, Keeney, when they came from junior college. Yeah, we didn't have huge expectations, but their stats at that level were gaudy, right? Like 1,000-yard seasons. Like we know those guys could play. And even Chase Sewell, for as maligned as he was here, had some really nice numbers at UCF, was one of their top targets. So I think we're still maybe missing that type of player. And I'm not saying that they won't sign one. Like I said earlier, a lot of those people still have not committed. And there is a chance that they can still snag some guys that have really good, production yet. Really, that's what I'm waiting to see. I feel really happy about what they've done on the defense, on the line of scrimmage, with the specialists. Even at tight end, Keeney, I really like, that guy from Oklahoma State was the number 14th tight end in the class a year ago. Was injured to some of last season.
We got the Arkansas State kid that's worked with Rayner. Like there's just a lot of guys, and I'm fascinated to see how it all fits together because nobody has played with each other before.
No,
but
I would
at
just
least
love to be able to point at one wide receiver and say, that guy's the guy. That's the guy that's going to get 70 catches and have 800 yards this year. And right now, it doesn't feel like they found that in the portal. But
that's
maybe
really
it's Dominic Overby, right? Who this last staff loved. And we saw him a lot early and not late.
Kind of forget that he's staying, right? Yeah. That's kind of generous that you think we're going to throw the ball 70 times next year total. I feel like we're going to be a run the ball, and run the ball some more kind of team.
Wumbo. That's right.
Matt, we're like 30 minutes into the podcast, and we haven't talked about the fact that the men's basketball team is ranked number 2 in the AP poll. And we go to Lawrence on Tuesday night.
What a time to be alive. I think it's time to shift.
Okay. So first off, we have a line. We are favored by 3.5 points at Kansas. I believe this is the first time that Iowa State has ever been favored at Allen Fieldhouse pregame.
It's very possible.
Are we setting ourselves up for some kind of massive disappointment, or are we just overthinking it? And it's, yes, it's Allen Fieldhouse, but Kansas just isn't very good this year. I know you don't think Kansas is good, but as we are heading into the game, what is your thoughts about, like, what are we going to see when the game actually tips off?
Well, there are two schools of thought. You know what the first one is, right? And that's that they're coming off a loss, and this is Allen Fieldhouse. They'll make a couple bad foul calls in a row. We'll miss 3 shots in a row. Badunga will get a dunk, and then the roof will blow off the place, and then you're just screwed. We've seen it happen in that building a lot of times. When Iowa State has won in that building, it's because they've been able to, withstand one of those, or it's taken just a superhuman performance from somebody, which Litecast trivia time, the last time we won in that building, who was the guy that went berserk, and who was the guy who hit the big shot?
Okay, yeah, it's got to be the same game as the Deontay Burton game.
That is the one. Yep.
And then Donovan Jackson.
Donovan Jackson.
Yeah, man, what a deep cut. That's he was like a pro era. Well,
I liked him actually. Short little guy, number 4.
He wasn't great. He wasn't like a Big 12 caliber guard. No. Like, no offense to him. Like, he's a good basketball player. He just wasn't meant to be the lead guard on a Big 12 team.
He was Tyler Harris, but he could shoot. It's a fair comp.
He had the shot at Allen Fieldhouse that no one will ever forget.
And then I think he did the big nut celebration. And
that's right.
In the background of that clip, when he makes it, you can see the Jayhawk mascot is like in the student section, and he just like melts. The look on his face. I know it's a mascot, so you can't see his face doesn't change, but exactly, like his posture slumps, and he's just like, it's a great, anyway. Correct. That is the last time. So that's one school of thought, right? Which is, it won't matter. This is Kansas. Bill Self coming off a loss. And the same old voodoo magic is going to happen, right? From a basketball perspective, I think the other school of thought is, I truly don't know where I land, Kenny. I'd be curious where you do. This team they're struggling. They should have lost to TCU. Again, that same kind of voodoo magic happened, Keeney, and they didn't lose.
Did they use up their one that they get every year already?
I mean, Keeney, they did not look good in some of these games. I know they were up at half against West Virginia, but you've got something weird going on with Darren Peterson still. Against UCF, they were down the entire game. Ended up losing by 12 on the road, which, again, does not happen all that often. And I know UCF's now in the top 25, so that's maybe not as bad of a loss as it looked like 2 weeks ago. But correct me if I'm wrong, they've lost 2 out of their last 3, or is it 3 out of their last 4?
Yeah,
I think it's 2 out of their last 3.
They are 1 and 2 in the Big 12 play, and they're really, really lucky that they got the 1.
It should be 0-3 for all intents and purposes. And my concerns were always my concerns. When Darren Peterson is on the floor, he is really good. He is clearly, I mean, he's clearly the top 3 pick, right? He has been incredible all season, and there's no denying that. The question is, what do you get outside of that? And when I say that, you've had Trey White and Melvin Council Jr. that at times have given them some production. But Keeney, I want to read you a stat here. So Peterson played 31 minutes against West Virginia. Against UCF, I believe he only played 23. So he's still on some sort of a pitch count, it seems. But their scoring production is really weird. It seems like Council or White, one of the two, is going to give them 15 to 18. And I'm talking a lot. I know I wanted your opinion. Peterson's going to give you 25. Just go ahead and chalk that up, right? Darren will score 25. They're outside of Elmarco Jackson, their bench is really shallow. Like really shallow. Like playing only 8 guys total, and you're lucky if anybody outside of Elmarco is getting more than 5 minutes. And their bench production is very low. They're still not a great 3-point shooting team at all. They shot 30% at West Virginia. Badunga is a pretty good player, but he's not super skilled. I think it's a great matchup for Buchanan. I don't think you're really worried about anybody outside of Peterson all that much. Council and White have had moments, but they haven't been consistent. Keeney, I don't know. It's a very weird team, and I knew the shooting was going to be an issue. I said it going into the season. A lot of these games they're shooting in the low 30s from 3, which is not the type of percentage that usually gets Iowa State beat. We give up open threes, and if a team shoots incredibly well, that's one of the ways that they can beat us. So I don't know that they're a top 25 team this year. I think they're close. I think they're going to hang around that all year. But so those are the two sides, Keeney. To me, just because this is Kansas, it's hard not to come down on the side of they're going to do something bizarre and run us out of the gym by 10. How do you feel?
Well, we referenced our boss, Jake Brend, who thinks this is going to be easy. He has not gotten enough crap about that comment.
Silly.
Look, it really is just how much is Darren Peterson going to play, really, for this matchup. He's not on a minutes restriction, but he's doing the Kawhi Leonard load management. As soon as I don't feel 100%, I'm taking myself out of the game.
That's what it feels like.
He did it again against West Virginia too.
Yeah.
West Virginia went on a big run in the second half, and Kansas was down by 8 to 10 points at the under 4 media timeout, and Peterson didn't come back in the game to play. He was out for a long time against TCU, and then he came in when there was 5 seconds left and got fouled and made some free throws. He is just kind of playing when he feels like playing. And I think I don't think if you got truth serum and Bill Self, I think he'd be like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm
not thrilled with this. Correct.
This is not what I signed up for when I took on a player of this caliber. But I don't know. I feel like Iowa State has an opportunity to maybe just throw some junk defense at him and hey, you know what? We're going to play box and one, or we're just going to shadow Darren Peterson with Killian Torrey and try and get him tired. And then if that happens, then Kansas just doesn't have anything else to work with. Matt, you're right. Their bench is basically non-existent. They have 3 guys at most that can score. Melvin Council is going to have either 30 points or he's going to have 3 points. Flory Badunga doesn't really create his own offense. He's a good player. It's going to be a really good matchup for Blake Buchanan, but they're not going to throw it to him in the post and he's going to give him 20 points. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So
most of his, look at a lot of his stat lines. It's 30 minutes, 8 points, 6 rebounds.
He's a really good defensive player, good rim protector. So that's going to be the thing to watch when Iowa State has the ball. How do we attack Badunga? They went to go to the hole.
They went 8 for 23 from 3-point in that loss to UCF. Keeney 8 for 23, 35%. Peterson took 10 attempts and made half of them. So you remove that, they went 3 for 13. It's not a good percentage. It's not.
You're right.
Right. And that's routine. And Tiller, their forward, a lot of his stat lines, he looked 27 minutes, 2 points. He is basically just there to rebound. Bills always kind of have remember Landon Lucas was a forward for Kansas. That was his job. You're going to play 25 minutes a game and just get a few rebounds and not actually do anything on offense.
We could do a whole summer series about Kansas big guys that didn't do anything.
Jamari Trailer, Landon Lucas. We could get
McCormick. What was his?
Oh.
I forget his first name. He was a
Need
good
we
one.
go on? Yeah,
Jeff
correct.
Withy. They've always got one.
There's always one that's just job is to just be there and take up some space. Rosario and McDowell, the two main bench players against UCF, 3 points between the two of them. They each played 19 minutes. And Marco Jackson against UCF, Keeney, you're right, 2 points, right? Like their bench is shallow at best and sometimes non-existent. It can be that inconsistent. And odds are we say this, and Melvin Council Jr. will have a huge game. I do think they've got two really good guards. One is Peterson. The other depends on the night, Keeney. Sometimes it's White. Sometimes it's Melvin Council. So you've really got two players you got to look out for. And outside of that, there is, Badunga is not going to be creating his own shot. Tiller is not even part of the offense. I think, Buchanan's, I'd be very curious, I guess, to see how much they double. If it's Badunga getting the ball, I'm assuming that they will, because he's got really long arms and he is somewhat of a presence around the basket. If I'm TJ, my game plan is just put Torrey on Darren Peterson and make him sick of us. I would even attack him on offense a little bit, get him tired. How much does he really want to defend? I'll also be very curious, who does he guard? He's 6'6", right? White is 6'7". So I feel like Council's going to be on Lipsy. One of White or Peterson is going to have to guard Torrey. So are they going to try to hide Darren a little bit and put him on Torrey?
I bet he would guard Torrey because Torrey's not going to handle the ball and try and create a bunch of offense. So what I was going to ask you, Matt, is when from the Iowa State perspective, let's fill in the blank. Iowa State cannot win this game if blank doesn't have a good game.
Ooh.
Like, who really needs to play well for Iowa State to come out with a win?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'm gonna say it's Momcilovic. Like, I don't think you're going into Allen Fieldhouse and winning if he has 6 points and is 2 for 7 from three. Like, he's gonna have to make shots. That's how you break runs too, is you hit shots and kill the momentum. So I think Milan is gonna have to hit 5 threes for us to be able to win this game.
I would agree. And you need someone who can quite frankly, make a tough shot, right? That's what it's going to come down to in this game, is kind of some just excellent and well-timed shot making. And I feel like Momcilovic is really well positioned to do that. I feel like Taman Lipsy, Keeney, is going to be really important in this game. One thing that Kansas does a nice job of, I will give them some credit, Keeney, is they do not turn the ball over a ton. Most of their games, if you go look at their stats, they are around 10 to 13 turnovers a game. So can we get them up to 15, 16? Hopefully. If Torrey is going to have his hands full with Peterson, I think Lipsy is going to be extremely important. And that's one way we can create some momentum against this team, is get some steals. I think we've got to force some more turnovers. And then Lipsy's offense, right? He does so much else that you feel like you don't need it until you see him score 23 points like he's done a couple times recently. You're like, man, it's so nice when you've got him going, when he can make big threes. He's not afraid.
He'll be the second half closer. Like if it's a 5-point game in the second half, Lipsy's going to have the ball in his hands trying to create offense.
He did that against Oklahoma State, I thought, incredibly well, right? Coming in and closing that game out. So I feel like they're probably the most important players in this game. I think we can out rebound Kansas as you go in and look at their rebound stats in Big 12 play.
They've been out rebounded. They don't get offensive rebounds. Like Baylor was crazy crashing the glass. Kansas just doesn't do that because they can't. They don't have enough big guys.
And they're so a lot of things about it fit as well, Keeney. They're not as threatening on the offensive glass, and they're not a great 3-point shooting team. They are not. A lot of the two transfers they brought in are 28% to 30% career shooters. I'm going to knock on wood again. If you look at a lot of their shooting nights, they've been in the low 30s. So I think those play it well into our hands, but you've got Darren Peterson to contend with. And historically, they've taken care of the ball quite well. So I think,
as I look at the KenPom breakdown for the game, just the things that are absolutely glaring. Kansas doesn't turn other teams over. they protect the rim well, but they don't take the ball away from you. They don't get very many steals. And then there's going to be a big one for, well, they also don't get offensive rebounds, but there's going to be the big one for Iowa State. They're going to have to make free throws in this game. It's been kind of bubbling under. It's been a thing that drives people crazy. They talk about free throw percentages.
Right.
Iowa State's going to have to make clutch free throws if they're going to win this game. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So who do you want on the line when Kansas is trying to foul you to extend the game?
I think I want Jefferson. I think he's shown he's really capable in this spot, right? I really do. Momcilovic has obviously been incredible as well. I really think, Keeney, that they're going to attack the basket, put some pressure on those guards, make those two bigs guard cuts and all the things we want to try to do on offense. That's one thing I've noticed. I think if we just talk about the team in general for a second, there's maybe been a little less flow offensively. And I think you've seen that with the efficiency rating drop a little bit. Some of that is just missed shots. Keeney, how many layups did we miss against Oklahoma State? Buchanan missed several. Jefferson missed several. And you
There
still
are a couple of like the people that are just all over this online about offensive efficiency and like, hey, Iowa State's taken a step back since Big 12 play started. They now rank like 13th in the nation in offensive efficiency instead of 10th. It's like, oh no, we have a top 15 offense, not a top 10 offense. I am not sweating that at all.
Right. And you played a really big physical Baylor team on the road and again, still scored 83 against a 3-loss Oklahoma State team that hasn't played a ton of great competition, but has looked pretty good on the season. I mean, you still shot 47% from the floor. You didn't shoot all that well from three. I think you only made 5 3-pointers in that game, but it didn't matter, right? They did a really nice job of getting to the rim. We crushed Oklahoma State on the glass, 26-36. Only turned the ball over 10 times. And again, forced Oklahoma State into 10 turnovers. That's kind of the recipe. Oklahoma State shot okay against us, 44-36. I think were the percentages, but we forced them into some turnovers, and they really attacked. And I think if you're going to take us out of some of the backdoor cuts and the ball movement that we really like, a lot of which we get on live ball tournament or early offense in the half, live ball turnovers or early offense in the half court, then the solution is you need either elite shot making, right, which Momcilovic and Lipsy can do. We've even seen Jefferson, right, pull up a contested three, or you need to get to the rim, which they did both in that game. Really, I think really successfully. So, it seems like a lot of people I'm picking up think they're struggling. Is it a struggle because you don't beat Oklahoma State at home by 20? I think some of that is just what it's like playing Big 12 teams. Like Oklahoma State's got a pulse.
I believe that Oklahoma State is pretty good. They're a bubble team. They could probably get into the NCAA tournament.
Baylor is also a bubble team that you beat on the road, right? So
we were favored by like 18.5 points against Oklahoma State. Like, yeah, we didn't cover the spread, but that was a disrespectful line to them. To Oklahoma State. I agree. They're a pretty good team.
That I felt West like Virginia that line was egregious.
I don't think West Virginia is like special or anything, but what have they done since they played us? They beat Cincinnati at home, yeah, whatever, and then they beat Kansas at home. Like they've won a couple of games.
Oklahoma State, Big 12. Oklahoma State put up 80 on Texas Tech on the road. Keeney, worst Tech in defense, KenPom wise, and beat UCF by 11 at home, like 5 days prior to when we played them. And I actually think pretty highly of UCF. I think they are a good team. They beat Grand Canyon, who is also probably a tournament team. I know that sounds crazy, but Grand Canyon's actually a decent basketball school. I think they're right around 100 in KenPom. They beat Texas A&M by 25 earlier in the year. They also beat Northwestern by 5, who we played in a scrimmage. So like they have beaten a Big Ten school, an SEC school. They did lose to Oklahoma at home. But man, they've got a nice resume. That is a tournament-ish resume. So I don't think it's any small feat to beat them. I agree with you. I think they're a tournament team. So anyway, the question really is, Keeney, is Kansas going to either figure it out between last game and this, or get enough magic from the home crowd to lead them to a win? TCU is really not very good, Keeney. They should have lost that game, and it took a crazy circumstance to get them to overtime. That's with Fog being Fog, right? You've seen what happened at the end of that game a million times in Allen Fieldhouse.
Yep.
Iowa State is a much higher caliber team. So I think
Best
where
team,
your
best team that they've seen in Big 12 play so far, without a doubt.
I think where your intuition should lead you is that this is actually a game Iowa State should be able to win by 4 or 5 points. It will not be easy in this building because it never is. But I do think this is a game they can win. What should they win it? I don't know that you can ever say a team should go into that building and win.
I'm just, this is what we've been talking about is can you look objectively at what you've seen on the basketball court this year and separate it from Allen Fieldhouse and Kansas and all the games
Right.
you've seen them pull out of their butt in that building before. Objectively, Iowa State is a much better basketball team than Kansas this year. This is a game that you have a great opportunity to win. So,
yeah, I agree.
There you go. All right. Sorry if I was distracted there. The Texans just hit a very, very important field goal.
Oh, important for some people.
Important for some. Well, hey, this is a Cyclone show. You're wanting Higgins and Noel to advance in the playoffs. So as we record, they're up 10-6 in the fourth quarter.
Keeney, we could also see, here's the thing. I don't disagree that Iowa State has not been like playing great. Not bad by any means. But this is probably as above average as we've seen them look all season, in my opinion, right?
I think they're just playing with their food a little bit, to be completely honest. They know they're way better than Oklahoma State. They know that they're way better than West Virginia.
Correct.
They're better than Baylor, and they proved it out in the second half. They pulled away after starting slow. Like they're just better than the teams they're playing.
They have played together the bulk of this team. They are focused, coached well. They went through this last year, right? I don't think any of those issues, slow start, let down, any of those things, I don't think we see those tomorrow night, Keeney. I think they come out hot. This team is too experienced. I don't even care about the talent level, just between coaching and experience to let that get in the way. And maybe they all of a sudden play better. A jump in competition grabs more focus, right? Say they have been looking not quite as good as we're used to seeing. If they find that form tomorrow night, they can win that game by 10.
You just know TJ would love to get a win in that building too. All right.
No question.
Matt, did you go to the women's game yesterday? I
did not. We were coming back into town from a weekend out in Nebraska with my mom's family. In hindsight, I'm kind of glad I didn't go. Is that bad?
I guess this is my way of asking you, what's going on and is it fixable? Obviously the team is injured. We're missing 2 starters, Addie Brown and Ariana Jackson, but that shouldn't prevent you from beating Cincinnati, even on the road. Cincinnati stinks, and we've lost to them outright. That's a huge red flag. And is it just injuries or is there something else going on? Do you think that this can be fixed?
I think it's just injuries, but it's also a little bit of tape, right? Teams have gotten some tape on us and they've found some ways to attack us, especially, Audie Crooks on defense, which is kind of new. We obviously had what Baylor did, but then Cincinnati ran some really unique. McKinney, they were running screens on Audie Crooks's girl at 12 feet from the hoop in the middle of the paint, stuff that you just don't see. And Bill's got to adjust. They're going to have to make some tweaks to how they play. I think it's going to be a lot harder for this team because Addie Brown made it so much easier to get out of the ball because she was so hard to guard. She's so versatile, and they're going to have to be really creative on offense. I think probably shoot more threes if they're going to be double teaming more and more and more and aren't worried about her driving. So it is really going to change the way that they kind of run the offense, right? And Ariana Jackson's a huge part of this team defensively, huge for their hustle, right? Very good on ball defender. So it really hurts to lose her at the same time. And I think my question is how much damage gets done before this ship gets righted, right? If AJ's back in a week and Addie's back in 2 or 3, can they keep in the top 25? Can they keep themselves in position to finish in the top 2 or 3 in the league? That'll be the question. I think we all know when they'll make the tournament, when they get these girls back, they're probably going to go back to their normal selves, but you've got to get to that point. And I think that's going to be a huge challenge. I hate the injuries, right? It stinks, but at the same time, they've got to find a way to get through it.
Yeah. I mean, what's kind of happening is that Audie has limitations and they're getting exposed a little bit. And one of those limitations is she can't pass the ball to herself. And especially against Baylor, when things started to go south, she could not get position and she couldn't get the ball. Your best offense is still going to be getting it to Audie in the post and letting her lay it in. And if she can't do that, if you can't get the ball to her, then she's extremely neutralized. The attacking her on defense thing, like it's not exactly news that Audie Crooks isn't a great defender, but she makes up for it more than enough with what she does on the offensive end. So, yeah, injuries stink. I really hope they could put it back together.
It's a concern. If they lose one or two more, Keeney, you could hit free fall, which would not be fun.
Yeah. Are you going to lose 5 games in a row, 6 games in a row? When does it stop?
No, most likely not. But
the
Big 12, win.
The Big 12 is not great. They should have opportunities to win games in here.
West Virginia and Baylor and West Virginia are both very good teams. Cincinnati is very not. But the other two in that 3-loss sandwich were very good teams.
I guess I should maybe not get too far ahead of myself and say, hey, we're definitely going to. Colorado's not bad. Oklahoma State's pretty good, but that's a home game. Oh, sorry, that's on the road. Sorry, that's in Stillwater. Okay, the Cincinnati rematch on January 21st. If you lose that game, then cancel the season. How about that?
Done.
All right, Matt. I got a couple Discord questions here.
Let's do it. Let's get out of here.
Yep, from our After Dark friends. Let's see. So this comes from Trax. I'm sure you know Trax.
Yep.
Loyal follower of us. Also, first off, he wants us to acknowledge that Hunter Deckers got drafted into the UFL, and he's playing for. Do you see this? What team he's playing for?
The Houston Gamblers.
The Houston Gamblers. Hunter Deckers. Somebody in the UFL has a sense of humor. That's pretty great.
Sorry, that's my slot machine sound.
Yep, I love that. All right,
great radio.
Here's the question though. Do you think that moving forward, Jimmy Rogers will use the portal more than the previous staff did? Taking out this year. Obviously, they had to this year, but going forward, do you see them being more active in the portal every year?
I think so. I'm wondering if he has a different approach, right? Campbell's was very much going to almost like Dabo, right? Like keep this team here and develop it, and I will add some pieces where I need to. I mean, his track record through 2 seasons is we're not going to be afraid to bring guys in. And I saw conjecture, Keeney, but we heard it. A lot of it stemmed from not wanting to pay some guys on the current roster what retaining them would cost. And I find it hard believing that would be just a 1-year philosophy and that he's going to change his mind on how that works next year. So not that they won't try to retain guys, right? But it's this idea of, if this player is going to cost me 3x to keep, I could take that money and go get 2 more players with the funds I would have paid him. That's we don't have proof of that, but through 2 seasons, that kind of seems to be the way he's leaning.
My belief is that, unfortunately, it's going to have to be the case where we use the portal more often. So the Campbell thing, the reason that he didn't use the portal is because he had been here for so long and he had built his culture before the NIL era. So it was just a thing. You come here, you develop, you play, you go to the NFL if you're a standout. We had a few defections, we had a few guys come in, but the fact that we're starting over in the portal and NIL era tells me that we're going to have to be a little bit more active every year because I think we're going to lose guys more often. It's just the way the thing works now. All right, next question comes from Pseudo Sue. Asks if Iowa State beats Kansas tomorrow night, when will their first loss be, and will it be long enough for them to get to rank number 1? I think I worded that really terribly when I said
repeat that again.
Okay. If we beat Kansas tomorrow, how long until we lose? And can we stay undefeated long enough to get to number 1 in the AP poll?
That is a great question.
I know you love prediction radio. So why don't you tell me exactly when we're going to lose our first game?
I mean, that Cincinnati game has got to be terrifying. Like coming off a big win on tomorrow night, hopefully. I think, man.
So if
I
you're
would say optimistic would be at BYU on February 21st.
mm-hmm.
I think if that happens, that is most likely long enough to get you to number one. Odds are that would happen. I think if you're a pessimist, you would say that they're not going to get through January undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's this game tonight, at Oklahoma State in 2 weeks could be tricky, right? That game was maybe a little closer
TJ's
than we
teams have
wanted.
not played well in Stillwater. That's a house of horrors for us.
I think Colorado and UCF they can beat at home. Those are not pulseless teams. Colorado's 12-4, UCF is 13-2, and had been in the top 25 until this week. But I think those are games that Hilton will get behind you. Cincinnati is risky, but they're also Wes Miller's teams. They cannot score. I mean, he might be the worst offensive mind.
He might not be the coach anymore.
He is the worst offensive mind I've ever watched in modern college basketball. Like, it's not good.
Did you see the story that Cincinnati fans are trying to organize a section of bags on heads for their next game, for their next home game?
No, that's incredible. And
they hate Wes Miller.
They've been competitive, like 6-point home loss to Houston, 2-point road loss to West Virginia, 1-point road loss to UCF. But those things just start to wear down on you, man. Like, you lose every game like that, it's going to take its toll. And they're, I'm worried for them that team is. I don't know what kind of juice do you have left in the tank after that 3-game stretch. That's brutal. And they've got, I think, who do they have? Is it Colorado? Yeah, they're hosting Colorado on Wednesday. So that'll be an interesting test to see how Colorado does against them, a team that I have a decently high opinion of. But yeah, it's possible they could lose that game. It's possible they could trip up at Oklahoma State.
There's too many landmines, but if you're
looking at just how good is this team, it really is until Houston on February 17th before I think you run into a significant challenge. Is that unfair?
No, I think so. Well, yeah. So here's what needs to happen if you're trying to game out. How does Iowa State get to number one in the AP poll? Arizona plays at BYU on January 26th. That's a Monday night. If you can stay undefeated through that following week, then that might be what it takes. If you can somehow just wait it out until Arizona plays at BYU, that might get you to number one in the country.
So that would be winning your next 4 at Kansas, at Cincinnati, UCF at home, at Oklahoma State.
And then a couple more after that. Because you'd have to get through the end of January undefeated to make that happen.
Kenny, I think Cincinnati, that I'm actually probably more worried about at Oklahoma State. If you're going to have a letdown, to me, it's most likely going to be on defense, right? A lot of times your offense can still travel. Guys like making hoops. Cincinnati is not the team to take advantage of that, right? They're just not. They have no offense. So I think it's maybe that Oklahoma State game that on the 24th, a couple days before that Arizona game, where you could maybe get tripped up. But again, Keeney, we got to recognize too that part of the reason Oklahoma State was in that game is because they had a guy just go dummy nuclear from 3. All right. Roy went 5 of 12. That's just insane.
Good shooter. One final question. This comes from Ames Logger in Discord, and they ask, they're asking about football records for next year. I mean, we don't have a schedule, so I think a way that I would frame this question is, what is a number of wins that you would shoot for and say, you know what, that was good. That was a good first year for Jimmy.
Boy.
We know who we play. We know who we play. We don't know when we play them. We don't know when our bye week's going to be.
Not a great schedule. No Arizona State, no Tech, as I heard Williams and Bloom discuss today.
It's manageable. For me, the number 6. I think 6 would be you go 6-6. I think that's a really nice start.
I think if it's 7-5, you feel like we just landed on the moon. Like 6-6. I think even 5-7, you got to feel really comfortable with where you're at. 6-6 though means you were able to win maybe 4 league games. right? That would be incredible with the turnover that we faced.
I'll just say it. I'd be a little bummed if we go 5-7.
Yeah. What if it's 5-7 and you beat Iowa?
Well, then it'd be. I mean, that'd be extremely funny. How long was the Conradi field goal to do it? That affects my
58
answer.
yards.
58. Okay, then I'd be
58.
fine with it. Yeah,
That's right. Oh, well, you know what would be actually really funny is if it was another 54-yarder. That would be perfect. 3 54-yard game-winning kicks.
we know he can do it in that stadium.
We know he can do it in that. We know he can do it in that stadium. There's a track record. I think 6-6, right? That means hopefully either win over Iowa and 3 league wins, or say you drop that game, but you win 4 league games, finish 4-5 in the Big 12. Like, which sign me up for that. Like, what you really don't want, and there's really only one thing I think that is unpalatable, Keeney. Even 4-8, while it's gonna stink, right? Like it's manageable. You cannot have a 1, 2, 3 win season. Can't do it. I would even say a 4-8 season is probably close to that category. Like 5-7, I can live with. If it's worse than that, you stack one more year like that up, Keeney, and it can cause long-term damage and give fans doubt about this staff. You cannot do that. You don't have to go 7-5. Don't go 2-10.
That's where I really appreciated that. It seems like this staff's approach is not that, hey, you know what, this is year 0. We're starting over, and we're telling you we're not going to be good before the season starts. They are acting in a way that tells you they think they can win football games next year. So,
agreed.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
That's a great question, listener. Thank you.
We'll revisit that when we get a full schedule too, later in the summer. We'll need stuff to talk about in the summer. Let's be honest. All right, Matt, this was great. Post game show tomorrow. I think you and me are both scheduled to be on it after the Kansas game.
That should be fun. Looking forward to it. And
we haven't had to do anything off a loss yet, so I don't want it to happen.
Yeah, if it does, right there. That is a team that's going to be in the tournament on the road at one of the toughest venues in the country. It's not going to change, and nor should it change anybody's perception about this season. However, it is a game they can go get. Like, don't hear that as a hedge. Like, they're favored in that game. Vegas thinks they should win it, and they probably should win it. So I think it's a great chance for us to learn a little bit more about this team. But the odds that they're going to get super intimidated by this team with players that have that much tournament experience, they've played together for that long. I don't think that's going to be at play. It could be right in that barn. Who knows? But I just feel like this team is so cohesive. They play for each other. They're not going to get rattled, and that's a lot of times what it takes to win in that building. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the game. Yeah, I think Iowa State will come out and look really good. I know you don't like prediction radio. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I'm excited to take on that challenge. I'm excited to talk about the game after the game with you tomorrow.
That's right.
On the CF After Dark live post game show. That'll be on the Cyclone Fanatic channel.
I like that it's the post game show. That's nice.
Yeah, I don't know if we technically have a name for it. I think we've just been calling it the post game, which is fun. So, Matt, this is your big CF debut too.
Got to look sharp.
Does Chris know what he's getting into?
No.
All right. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Looking forward to it.
It will be, and it'll give you a chance to react to it and hopefully celebrate, not vent. But we'll be there either way.
All right, sounds good, Matt. We'll see you then.